Good morning, Sandbox children and everybody tuning in today. Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope you've all had an excellent week and are ready to dive into the Word of God. I know I am, because today's story is quite possibly the most famous story in the whole Bible other than Jesus himself. That's right, today we're talking about David and Goliath. Last week, we began learning about the life of David. We saw how God was looking for a new king, and he chose David over all his older brothers. Why? Because God looks past how we look on the outside, and God saw David's heart was full of love, and David would trust him and obey him. But there was a big problem, wasn't there? Saul was still king. So God began working, moving David closer to the throne. Every time Saul got angry, which was all the time, David was called into the palace to play music for Saul. And then, today's Bible story. Hope you guys are ready. Everybody hold on to your seats. Whoa!
At the beginning of his life, David was just a young shepherd boy, but God had much bigger plans for David's life. God knew David would trust him and obey him, and it was for this reason that he chose David to replace the old king. David was already the musician in the palace, but God wasn't going to stop there. So he allowed the mighty Philistine army to declare war against the nation of Israel. The evil Philistine army set up camp just outside of Israel, and the Israelite army set up their camp on the other side of a valley. Every day, their champion Goliath would come out onto the battlefield. He would challenge Israel to fight, and even worse, he would curse our God. When David heard Goliath challenging God, he was shocked and angry because of his love for God. All the other soldiers were afraid and refused to fight Goliath. So David went to King Saul and offered to fight Goliath himself. King Saul asked how David could fight Goliath. He was too small, and Goliath was so big. How could David ever fight Goliath? David's response was simple. When he was a shepherd, God had empowered him to fight off lions and bears. So fighting Goliath would be a piece of cake. So Saul agreed. Before fighting Goliath, David prayed. He said, God, I don't know what is about to happen, but I trust you. On the battlefield, Goliath sized David up, and he laughed. You are so small, and I am so big. Surely I am going to win. David's response was a powerful one. He said, I may be little compared to you, but you are little compared to God. Surely God will win. And God did win. David used his sling, fired off a rock, and defeated Goliath in one hit. Goliath was defeated, David had won, and God was victorious.
That was amazing! Did you guys see that? Oh man! And it was scary too. Were you scared? I know I was at least a little bit scared. Wow! David was so little, and Goliath was so big. Most people would think that Goliath would crush David. But did that happen? Nope. Do you remember why? Goliath may have had huge muscles, a scary, booming voice, a big spear, and lots of armor, but none of that matters at all compared to what David had on his side. You see, Goliath was focused on the wrong thing. All he saw was the way David looked on the outside. But we know what really matters is what's right here. David had God on his side, and God always wins his battles. God had decided to make David the next king of Israel, and nothing, not even a big, scary, giant Goliath, was going to stop God from using David to do great and mighty things. Nothing would stop God because David trusted and obeyed him no matter what. Even when times were scary and dangerous, David kept his eyes, his mind, and his heart focused on God. And the same can be true for you. God has called you to do special and important things in this world. All you have to do is trust God and obey God. Even when life is scary, even when we feel like we're facing a giant Goliath, some major problem, we need to remember to keep focused on God, and He will see us through anything that comes our way. So everybody, show me your muscles. That's what David and that's what Goliath were doing when they said they were going to win the battle. Everybody, show me your big, big, big muscles. And repeat after me. We're going to say, God is powerful on 3. 1, 2, 3. God is powerful. Now take your hands, open them up, bring them together. Close your eyes, open your hearts and your minds, and we'll close up today's Bible lesson in prayer. Dear God, you are a powerful and awesome God. Thank you so much for the story of David. Thank you for everybody tuning in to today's Bible story. We love you and we worship you with everything that we have. Help us to be focused on you. Help us to trust you. Help us to obey you no matter what happens in our life. Help us to remember the story of David, and may it encourage us and give us strength just like you give us strength. We love you and we thank you for everything. And all God's Sandbox children said, Amen.